Hey, what's going on, guys? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the upgraded version of the new Pocket Go, otherwise known as the new Pocket Go or the new Pocket Go version 2. Now this is the original new Pocket Go I have in my hands right now. I did a full review on this when it was initially released. It's not a bad handheld whatsoever, and emulation is on par with the RG350, but there were some things that a lot of people didn't like about this. Mainly the little analog stick. I mean, it is a bit stiff, but you could definitely get used to it. And some of these issues have been fixed with the new Pocket Go version 2 that we're about to take a look at. Now, one of the main selling points for the new Pocket Go version 2 is the ability to install RG350 software without any modification. And that's a big plus because the RG350 emulation scene is really blown up, and they've made some improvements to certain emulators to allow them to run better on the RG350. And now we can install the software on the new Pocket Go version 2 without any issues at all. But I do want to mention that it's using the same exact CPU and the same amount of RAM as the original new Pocket Go. So in terms of raw performance, this is going to be exactly the same as the original new Pocket Go unit. But we can now install RG350 firmware, which should help out with some of the emulators. Now this is never going to run N64, it's never going to run every single PS1 game at full speed, but it does a great job with a lot of the emulators that it does support. Alright, so the first major change here is the internals for the analog stick itself. On the original new Pocket Go, it was very stiff. I mean, I got used to it, I didn't mind it, but on the new one, they have loosened it up a bit. It works a lot better in my opinion. It's much easier to navigate with that analog stick now. And it's really hard for me to show the difference on camera, but I can assure you that with the V2, the analog stick is much easier to use with this handheld. But then again, we still only have a single analog stick on the new Pocket Go version 1 and the V2 we have here. Another thing they mentioned about being improved was the D-pad. Now on my original version 1, I never had any missed inputs with the D-pad, but some people complained about it and they claim that all of that is gone. I really can't test it here because my version 1 never missed any inputs at all. Another thing they've improved was the USB Type-C port on the top. If we take a look at the version 1, it's a little raised here, it looks a little out of place, a little uneven, and all that has been fixed with the version 2. It's flush on the top here. It just makes it look a little cleaner. On the bottom we have the V1, on the top we have the V2. Another change is the casing itself. On the left hand side we have the version 1 and it's just a flat white finish. And as you can see on the right hand side we have the V2 with kind of a gloss pearlescent look to it. And it's definitely a welcome change, but very minor. Now like I mentioned, they claim to have fixed the D-pad issue that some people were experiencing with their units, but my version 1 never had an issue with missing an input from the D-pad, so it's really hard for me to judge this fix. There is one more major change here. With version 2, they've added a reset button on the bottom of the unit. In the past, with version 1, if you got hung up in an emulator for whatever reason, you would have to hold the power button for about 30 seconds or pull the battery. With the new version 2, we now have a physical reset button that's just going to make it easier if we have any hang-ups. But other than those changes, they're basically the same unit. Now the main thing we got going with the version 2 is the ability to use that RG350 software, and it does come pre-installed with it from the factory. But personally, I seriously don't think this warrants an upgrade from you. If you already own a version 1 and you're happy with the performance, this isn't going to help you out any at all. Yes, we have a softer analog stick, a glossy finish, and that reset button, but overall performance is going to remain the same as the version 1. After all, it's using the same amount of RAM and the same exact CPU. I personally did test some emulators here, but it runs exactly the same as the version 1, so if you want to see some emulation on the new Pocket Go, check out my original video. I'll leave a link for it in the description. I tested out a bunch of games there, and performance will be exactly the same as V2. But that's pretty much it for this video. Really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But like always, thanks for watching.